I love the services here at Norfield. And I really loved going out into the fields at Maple Row Christmas Tree Farm with my friends from Norfield and arguing with my family about which tree to cut down. And it has become a tradition that we always find the perfect tree within the first 2 or 3 trees, but we spend at least a half an hour looking for a better one anyway. I bet a lot of you do that too. But when we get home and we set it up, it always looks perfect. But one of the things that I like most about Christmas is receiving something new each year from the Christmas story. We've heard the stories countless times about Mary and Joseph traveling far from their home to participate in the census. And none of the inns had any room to keep them, so they had to go into a stable, and they had to lay their baby in a manger, and the shepherds came and the magi came. This is all a familiar story, and one that we probably know by heart. However, something new every year appears to me in this story, and this year I have been captivated by the shepherds. I can almost feel the excitement and joy that they felt after the angels came to them in the field. But I have to wonder, when they were obedient to what the angels had asked them and went out and told everybody about the good news of Jesus' birth, who stayed with the sheep? It's a good question. Recently, I realized that in all of the translations of this gospel story, nobody ever mentions who stays with the sheep. And I've grown up watching Christmas pageants and plays and singing hymns and hearing all the stories of the animals that surrounded the baby Jesus, but none of these stories say anything about the shepherds gathering their flocks and bringing them to the manger. This means that either they left their sheep in the pasture on the hillside by themselves, or some unlucky shepherd was chosen to stay behind. He was either asked or told to miss seeing the Christ child in person in order to tend to the flock. And boy, what a disappointing job that must have been. Maybe they drew sticks, and whoever got the shortest had to stay behind. Or maybe they cast lots. Or perhaps just the youngest shepherd was chosen to stay behind. Whatever the case may be, I have spent a considerable amount of time this week pondering their sacrifice and comparing it to another Christmas story that I know quite well, and one that we've all just heard. When the chimes rang, the Christ child was born. And the message of the parable that we just saw in our pageant is simple. The gift of love rings the chimes. Sarah and her little brother gave something less, yet profoundly more than the mere trappings of wealth. They gave more deeply of themselves than the king or any of the city's wealthy merchants, and the very sincerity of their generosity brought an unexpected reward. Their example reflects the 2 greatest commandments upon which, according to the Gospel of Matthew, all of the laws and the prophets depend. And the first commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. And the second echoes the same challenge, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. These are 2 gifts that we can give Jesus this Christmas. God gave us the greatest gift ever when he sent his son to earth. And now we can give back. We can love the Lord with all of our hearts, and we can love our neighbors as ourselves. There's still a few people missing from our manger scene, so I wonder if you guys up there could unwrap our biggest gift yet. Okay. What's in here? What's in here? Take it out. Emma, what is it? Okay, I'll open this part. You guys go sit back down. It's the we bring out the baby Jesus today to help us to remember that sometimes there are things that are more important than the music, the decorations, the food, and the festivities of the Christmas season. There are still those who need to be tended to. There's still work to be done and responsibilities to be upheld. But in the end, don't you think that the Good Shepherd himself, the one whose birth we celebrate this season, knows the sacrifice and acknowledges the gift